Hello, beautiful people. I needed to jump on here really quickly, even again, just for myself, talking to myself. I actually haven't been feeling my best and kind of been tired, so it's not my usual procrastinating, which I say I'm going to do uh, going to do better with, and then I do for a minute and then don't, back and forth. So, what I wanted to do in this little segment here is that I'm going to do a longer episode, but the inspiration for doing this is relationships is one of my favorite things to talk about. I never get tired of talking about it. Sometimes I may repeat myself, but there's usually some new information in there, right? Um, Most of my audience, I would say, sometimes I feel like it's those that benefit those that are at the beginning of their journey, like I don't know, I would guess I would say early 20s. And but I definitely could appeal, right, to those 30s, 40s, and 50s that are the beginning learning of just working with a relationship at those ages, right? And everything that I have learned thus far, and to the person that I've become today, that I want to share with all of you those tips, basically equipping you with mindset skills to be able to help navigate, manage, and sustain the relationships that you want to keep, right? And a little bit about, without giving too many words, as far as when I look back when I was younger, of course, I was thinking differently, but I wasn't really thinking like, oh, I wonder how I can keep these relationships. I wasn't really thinking that because not only introvert, didn't really have social skills, didn't know what to expect out of life as far as dealing with people, moving from the country, just having a different and even more sheltered life and moving to the city, now moving back to the country again, not far at all out of Sacramento, not even like whatever 30 minutes. But still, I'm gonna still be like a little bit more isolated, and definitely not, walking around and, having a neighborhood where you can just walk outside, and if you wanted to talk to people, several people or whatever, it's not going to be the same, right? So what I wanted to say in this is that that episode is going to be that episode is going to be the hows, right? Just think of me as like the how to person for things. All these things and elders, you've heard people talk about this and that, whatever, right? Self love, you need to do this and that, and whatever it is, but they don't tell you how. I don't think they don't tell you how to do that. They don't tell you how, like, all these little things that I think are very um, useful. And so I'm going to be talking about that. And I will probably go ahead and just focus on romantic relationships. I know that sounds confusing, but all of our relationships, there's so much that we can use within both of them, right? Professional, romantic, platonic. And it's just the overall umbrella is our relationships. That's what I'm talking about here. And so maybe I will just hone in to make it easier, or I think maybe two people might be captured, more interested if I focus on that. Um, and then lastly, I want to say that the inspiration of this is because, I talk to people even all of the years, and it's the same underlying thing that I think, because we're not all thinking ahead and we don't have the life experience, is that this is we're talking about newly married couple, newly together, and things start to interfere, right? Whether you get married and have kids, and then your career and the distance apart and different things like that, right? Whether it's the medical field, the military, first responders, whatever it is, there it creates a distance, right? The career is going to create the distance. So of course, many things are going to come into play as the relationship evolves, moving in together, right? And that there's a shocking reality that when things change and we didn't expect them to change, well, okay, now what? Well, now what do we do? How do we deal with this? And if neither person is able to communicate well, or let's say they don't have the skills, or they're shy, or whatever it is, or they don't want to deal with it, it's going to take a bit of efforting, right? I don't like to say that, um, what do you call, a relationship takes work, even though that's another way to describe it, right? It sounds really kind of like it could be negative, but it takes effort. And so if we treasure the relationships that we have with said person, there are things that we need to do to help it maintain, right? To maintain it, to sustain it, to make it long lasting, to make it thrive. I think with the right person, right? Again, romantic, platonic, business, and professional. Uh, but not a lot of us put a lot of thought into it, and a lot of people just get divorced, break up, stop talking, whatever it is, right? They just end it. And that was me back in the day. If we had a disagreement or I got offended and I didn't have social skills, it's just to revert, hermit mode, go inside. We don't talk for days or weeks or maybe ever again, and then you never even talk about the issue that you were upset about. So how did that help anybody? It really doesn't. So effort, people, do we want to put in the effort? And I think that we do if we found the connections that if we found connections that were worth it to us. Okay, so I will see you in the next video, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.